this week's trending list is heating up fast. Mary Jane's rocking the Venom symbiote has folks flipping out of their minds, but that didn't stop sales. It's a brand new day for Spider Man and it's driving up demand, and the White Rabbit is trending hard. Why? Her debut in Batman The Dark Knight is catching fire thanks to a surprise Peacemaker connection. Let's break it down. What's moving in the market right now? It's time to talk about the top trending weeks for the second week of April. Would you believe we're already kicking off the second week of April?
Well, I can't even believe it.
1 week down, week two starts.
Yeah.
All right.
And these,
As I always ask, you see the 4 books that are on the list. One I don't like to talk about, and I don't need to talk about it anymore, but we're going to have to talk about it. The other ones are pretty cool. So tell me
it's
your thoughts.
coolness bookend by annoyances.
It gradually grows up, right?
So
Or goes down.
both ends annoying, middle very cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, we talked about that all new Venom last week. We're gonna obviously we got to talk about it today. But the other book and is Brand New Day, which we'll talk about why that book's on this list. And the Batman Dark Knight is something that we're gonna talk about very shortly. And then we have a return in the new Avengers, and we're gonna see where those books land on this list. Let's start off with our honorable mention, and it's Dark Knight. Batman the Dark Knight issue 1 and issue 3 are both honorable mentions. This was an amazing series done by David Finch. And Paul Jenkins assisted with it as well, but it was a tremendous artwork. Do you recall Batman the Dark Knight?
Yeah, we were talking about it before, and I do, and I was surprised that I don't have it. Like it must have came out at a time where I was just didn't have the money to buy extra stuff because I love Finch art. I those covers are both great. I think the
Mhm.
White Rabbit is a friggin' hilarious character and fits right in where she's going to be. So
Yeah, so let's talk about White Rabbit because that's why these books are hot. So Dark Knight number 1, Batman Dark Knight number 1, and obviously issue 3 we'll talk about in a second, but it's the first appearance of this new character called the White Rabbit, and there she is in issue 3 in the cover. She's been announced for something, and it's not Batman. What is it?
Peacemaker.
Yep. Yep, she is going to be a character in Peacemaker season 2. They already announced the actress that's going to play her. She is beautiful, and all I gotta say is I'm just curious to see how this outfit's gonna look.
Yeah. I was just thinking that. I wonder if they're actually going to keep it or not. Who knows?
Well, it is Peacemaker, so it is an R-rated TV show or MA rated, so we might end up getting the corset.
Maybe.
Yeah. But it's an honorable mention. I'm assuming that we will see these books in the next couple of weeks. Of course, when the Peacemaker show starts, we're definitely going to see these books return. So
Yeah.
right now, they're just honorable mentions. They barely touched the list. They were on the cusp, both of them, but then they just fell off.
That's good. You know why? Because everybody that's watching right now has a sneak peek like me. Usually we have to wait much longer for me to say, I'm going to be looking for these on Wednesday. But now we can all go look for them before everybody that has them on lists starts figuring it out.
Yeah, and they're super affordable. And when I mean super affordable, these books are like under $10 right now.
Yeah.
Because first of all, with the Batman Dark Knight, you have David Finch, a Batman title, and it's number 1. High print run.
Yeah.
White Rabbit might have a lower print run, but it's still David Finch. So you know it had a higher print run than normal. So be on the lookout for those books. If you are tracking books that are trending, these two are starting to trend already. They're making the list, they're making the rounds, and people are starting to buy them. So be on the lookout on that. Let's go off into the actual list, and we'll start it off with number 10. with Amazing Spider-Man #1. No, not that one. The Free Comic Book Day 2007 edition that came out in 2007. It's going now for $24 was the last recorded sale. Fair market value of this book is $16 at a fine. 9.8s are going for $168. Would you believe a free comic book sold for $168? It's only
No.
number 8 on CBSI. Sales volume, I changed it from percentages to the actual numbers now. So what you're going to start seeing is how many books have sold. 36 copies has sold in a 30-day period. Hype level, this one is medium. This is going to be something we're going to talk about again, but talk to me about this book.
Yeah, so this one I have to check. This one I don't know if I actually picked up because 2007, I'm not sure. But this has got to do with what we're going to talk about later with Brand New Day, where it's got a
Mhm.
tie-in story with that.
Yeah, so this is the start of really the new Brand New Day storyline, and we have a cameo of a character called Negative Man, right? It's Negative Man, not Mr. Negative Man.
Mr. Negative.
Mr. Negative Man has a lot to do with Brand New Day. We don't know exactly what this means because all we know is that there's a title. That's
Yes.
it.
And if you read like Mr. Negative is a cool character. Um, and he kind of would work really well on TV or movies because of he's in that like polarized style, like so it would look really cool in TV
Mhm.
to have
Yeah.
that effect.
Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. You know how this works. Um, let's go with number 9. Green Lantern 21 this is the 1 in 25 Mark Spears variant. This just came out for DC Comics. This $57 near mint was the last recorded sales. The fair market value of this book is at $49 near mint. There are no recorded slabs as of yet. This was number 10 in CBSI, number 5 in cover price, and the 30-day sales volume is 28 sales. This is at a hype level of a medium. We talked about this book last week. I mentioned to you how I wasn't too fond of this cover and how awkward it just looks, and he just doesn't seem right. Apparently, I'm not alone in that.
Yeah, and you know, even I would say that the sweet spot for Mark Spears right now for the big two is ratio covers seem to be the ones that will creep up a little bit, and the
Mhm.
other ones seem to be a little bit easier to get right now.
It just was announced the fifth printing of Mark Spears Monsters. I don't know if you had a chance to see that. It is the homage to Evil Dead.
Yeah, ordered.
You ordered it? I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm telling you, man, I am so done with Mark Spears. It's over for me. I know
No,
our
no,
our
no.
guest that's supposed to be coming in today. He's a Mark Spears lover, so well, maybe we'll get a chance to talk to him a little bit about that one. But
Yeah.
he
It'll
loves
be
Mark
it'll be
Spears.
2 against 1 when he gets here.
It's not that I don't like him; it's just I'm tired of him. I'm at the point oversaturation when it comes to Mark Spears. It doesn't draw me. I'm amazed that it's still on this list two
Yeah.
weeks later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to number 8, Daredevil. 11 from 2011 Marvel Comics. This sold at $60 in a no grade. The fair market value of this book is $75 near mint. 9.8s are going for $312. Number 7 on Key Collector. Sales volume is 43 books have sold this month. Hype level is at a medium. This might be the end of this issue.
Yeah, it's done now, I
Yeah.
think.
Did you get a chance to catch up on the episodes of Daredevil?
Yeah, yeah, I'm all caught up now, and it's kind of a bummer, really, because like he had such a cool look in the show, and I thought it was a really cool idea for a villain that they could have kept around for a while.
Yeah, I was very disappointed at how they did it. I wasn't surprised. I sensed this was the way the story was going to work. But what I would have appreciated more with a character like Muse was to go to the very end. Like it should have been like a penultimate or a final episode where it's like now we got the final encounter with the main with the I guess we could say the main villain. Turns out he wasn't the main villain. It was very predictable how they did it as well. Like you knew it was going to be that kid. It would have been cooler. It would have been someone else.
Yeah.
Like they had us thinking it was the kid, and then they did it, and then he does his little, he starts monologuing with the psychiatrist, and I'm like, this is where we're taking this character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then of course he has some supernatural powers because he's an inhuman. For those, a lot of people don't know Muse is an inhuman, but with a TV show like this, I'm pretty certain they're not touching that.
Yeah.
If they do, I'll be shocked. But
The thing that I kind of have a little bit of a problem with is whatever they do with the character, they kind of crunch his story down into like one episode instead of over multiple ones. But it's really that because they're not introducing a whole bunch of other characters, when he showed up, I'm like, oh, that's Muse. Because there's no other options. There was really just maybe Kingpin's side guy, but I'm like, nah, that's not going to be it. And so as
yeah,
soon as they showed that character at early on, I'm like, oh, okay, he's going to be Muse.
it just felt too obvious. And eh, rest in peace, Muse.
Yeah.
Moving on to number 7, Uncanny X-Men 266. This book came out in 1990 for Marvel Comics. Last recorded sale of this book was $250 and 9.6. Fair market value of this book is $146 at a near mint, $460 at a 9.8. This came out number 6 in Key Collector, and the sales volume is very interesting. It had 48 sales this week with a hype level of a medium. Why is Gambit gaining momentum right now?
Who's this Gambit person? What?
It's
I
some
don't even.
dude.
What is this book even? I've never heard of this book
He
before.
he's some raging Cajun.
I have no idea. There is a really cool cover coming out for Uncanny that I
Mhm.
think probably we'll talk about later, but I don't know if that would be it. Maybe some of the news with him definitely being in the movie as
Yeah,
what's his
Channing
name?
Tatum's making his return, so of course he's playing Gambit. Um, I find it odd that the fair market value of a near mint is $146. That is so affordable for a book like this.
Yeah.
You know, now I do know that it is Uncanny X-Men, so I'm sure there's a high print run, and we never really looked at the CGC census for this book, but I'm assuming it's high. You know what I mean? He'll always be a popular character. This is one of those books that always creep its way back to a list because Gambit is just cool. He's
Yeah.
probably the coolest X-Men. You know what I mean? As far as being just like straight up cool.
Yeah. And I think, I grew to like Gambit a lot more from the X-Men 97 cartoon.
Mhm,
I've never really been a big Gambit person. I have this book. Um,
mhm.
I like many other X-Men more, but I think that show I really liked his part of that show for sure.
Mm. So, for those of you who don't know, if you look at this cover, what is up with those pants?
The thong pants.
The thong pants. It's a thong. He is wearing a thong. So I straight up went to Andy Kuber this past year. In fact, I was at Philly Fan Expo, and he was doing signing, and I had this book. I got him to sign the book, and I asked him. I straight up asked him. I was like, dude, did you know that this was going to be the look? Because if you look at the corner box, the upper corner box, he's wearing the traditional pants, right? So he was like, oh, he was there like, and he looks at the image, and he's looks at it, and he's like, I never noticed. And I said, so did you know this? Because in the interiors, he has the pants, the black pants with the corners. So it could have been a coloring era because again, no one knew this character, so no one knows who he was at the time. It's brand new. At the same time, he may have not known to do the colors, but he comes up to me. He says, "You know what? think I effed up. So he openly admits to the thong, even
Yeah,
though he himself never noticed it.
that's awesome.
Let's go with number 6 in our list, and that is Invincible Returns number 1. This book came out in 2010 for Image Comics. Last recorded sale was $50 in near mint. Fair market value is $60 near mint. 9.8s are going for $229. This was number 8 in cover price. 30-day sales volume is 65 copies sold. Hype level is a medium. I think Invincible is going to go away for a little while.
Izzy, I mean, I was just watching it. I probably watched like 8 episodes just before this started because
Yeah.
I'm watching through it again with my daughter. So um, I don't know. We'll see because Battle Beast is coming.
Yes, Battle Beast might give it a little uptick, but other books might end up getting the uptick.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? I think at this stage, everything that we've seen in Invincible is already going to cool off. And it's just going to go into the sunset for a little bit until season 3 comes in. No, season 4 now, right?
Yeah.
Season 4 comes in, Battle Beast comes in, and then we could see an uptick again. But like we mentioned this before about Invincible comic books when we were doing the top highest selling books. Those books are expensive.
Oh my, yeah. They're completely out of regular people's means now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is one of the more affordable ones, but like those first few issues, easily going for thousands.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, let's take a look at our next book, number 5. DC All-In Special number 1. This came out in 2024 for DC Comics. Last recorded sale was $13 near mint. Fair market value of this book is $12 near mint. 9.8s are going for $80. And Key Collector number 9, cover price number 3, 30-day sales volume, 82 copies have sold. Hype level is low. This is one of those books that just keeps creeping back. Why?
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit, but I think a lot of this has to do with, there's a new round of Absolute books that came out. And so, hey, if I'm a store owner and people are coming in, we've got all these new people, I'm constantly recommending this book as something they should pick up. And I know that my shop still has some that they have. I can't remember if they were $20 or $25, but
yeah. I'm assuming there's a high print run for this book because it's still so very much affordable.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe not to the same extent as Absolute Batman or the other Absolute books, but just because of what it is, what it's supposed to be, it's a crossover event, it's supposed to lead into the Absolute universe. And I'm with Alex in saying it's a sleeper book. I knew it was a sleeper from the beginning.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And I knew it was, first appearances of Absolute characters, but it just never had that everybody has to get this book. It's like everyone's getting this book at their own convenience.
Yeah.
That's what it's looking like, more so.
Yeah, and it's, I don't want to cause anybody any problems with this, but it's a kind of a typical DC cycle. Like DC, that's their usual kind of, there isn't like massive price increases really on DC books. Absolute Batman, even though it went up to 40 or 50, like if you compare that with some like other Marvel releases that are recent, like just not quite the same.
Yeah, I agree. DC All-In Special number 1, that's number 5 on our list. Let's take a look at what's number 4. Helverine number 5. This is Alessandro Cappuccino. I can never get that last name not right. Cappuccino. I'm gonna call him Cappuccino. This is the spoiler variant. This book came out last week. $15 near mint was the last recorded sale. Fair market value of this book is $9 near mint. People are already selling 9.8s of this book. I don't even think that exists, but they're already pre-selling them. So $54. Yeah. This is number 2 in cover price. The 30-day sales volume of this book, which is really a 1-week sales volume because this book just came out. 113 copies. Hype level is medium. We talked about this book last week. I said, this is a book to look after.
Yeah.
and they went after it. Talk to me about Hell Hulk.
Yeah. So I read Halverine. This issue was a really good read, actually. It's got Miss Fitzu in it. It was a really cool story. If you're expecting anything with the Hell Hulk, you're going to be disappointed. It's at the very, 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 very end. But it is, you're right. It was a good book. I left my comic shop with one copy, went to another shop. They were like, no, no, that's all gone, sold out. Messaged my original place and said, hey, if you have any of those after a few days, he's like, oh no, they're all gone.
I picked up 2 copies. So I have my personal copy and I have one that I'm going to put in the monthly mail member box. So that's good. Just so you guys to know, it's going to be in the monthly membership box. I'm going to put the Wolverine issue number 5 in there. I got some other books I'm going to throw in there as well for the monthly box. But we talked about this. This was a book that when we saw it, and it's a spoiler cover, it was announced as a spoiler variant. When we saw it, we immediately knew this book people were going to pick up, and people picked up, and
Yeah.
people are paying extra money for this book.
If this, like, and if this character, the next issue, like, there's going to be more, obviously, of them in it. And if the character catches on, then this is going to be the cover to have for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Because he will be, I guess he'll be in the next issue. This was, he showed up what, in an iPad? That was the cameo?
Yeah, so they look at a screen on an iPad and it's Hell Hulk. Super lame.
Now that's probably one of the best cameos ever.
Might as well have shown him
He's not even in a
reading.
panel. He's in a panel within a box.
Yeah, they might as well have shown Halverine issue 6 with him in it, and it's the same thing. Like, it's silly.
Yeah. Wolverine number 5. If you find it for $10, it's probably the price that you're gonna pay. But I'm also on the notion of these are the types of books I could wait on as well. If I didn't pick it up in the, when it came out, which I did, I could wait on this.
Yeah.
You know, but it might be a while before it actually dies. Okay, let's take a look at number 3. New Avengers 33. This book came out in 2015 from Marvel Comics. The last recorded sale was $23 at a very fine. The fair market value is a $21 for near mint, $45 for 9.6. So they haven't really sold any slabs yet. It's number 3 on CBSI, number 9 in cover price. The 30-day sales volume is 34 copies. The hype level is high because everybody's still prepping up for Doomsday. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, exactly. This is kind of, the last issue before Secret Wars started, so it's kind of a little tweak to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the first incursion, major storyline. We know this is going to be one of those books that people are going to be hunting down until Avengers Doomsday. But like all storylines, they rise and then they fall after it's all said and done. This might be one of those books. Wait till it cool. I'm going to say give it some time to cool off for a little bit when no one's really talking about Doomsday. However, it's in production now. Once you see a trailer, this one's going to bump up again. It's going to be
Yeah.
one of those books that's going to be going up and down, up and down, up and down. I would just cool off for it for the time being. Let it simmer, and then if you need to grab it, grab it.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
All right, number 2. Do we have to talk about number 2? Do we?
Yeah, sure.
We'll talk about it quickly. All new Venom number 5. This is the one per store. Clayton Crane suspect surprise variant. Came out last week from Marvel Comics. Last recorded sale was $50. This book is at $53 near mint. There are no slabs. Just came out. Number 10 in Key Collector. Number 1 in CBSI. Cover Price had it number 2 last week, so they didn't have it this week. Sales volume 164 copies were sold last week. Hype level, yes, it's a high because everybody's talking about it, but not in a good way.
Yeah, and I've read this, and yeah, like, Paul is still around. I don't know what's going on with that guy. Like, they need to get rid of him. And the whole thing with Mary Jane and Venom, I mean, I just don't get it. Like, is it too much that there's a character that supports the main character in a comic? I mean, I don't know.
Okay, so we heard about what Tom Brevoort said about reading comic books. He says if
Don't
you
read
don't
them
like
anymore.
it, don't buy it, right?
Yeah. Oh my
The
God.
stupidest thing an editor could say is if you don't like it, don't buy it. Fine, you could say that. You know who I could tell you is going to be angry? The people, your boss is going to be pissed off that you said that because they want you to buy these books. The problem that we have with these books now is that no one cares for what was written. Everything's about, oh, let's try this, let's stir the pot a little bit. And you're looking for a cheap pop. That's what you're looking for. This is a cheap pop.
Yeah.
And with a cheap pop, you got people talking, but people are not talking in the good way.
Yeah.
So her time as Venom, I honestly think is going to be short-lived. Now, my question for you, what do you think the sales volumes are going to be for issue 6?
I think people will still be picking it up because they want to see where this train wreck is going,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and like reading the whole series, this seems to me like it was a last minute decision, really. Like, it doesn't seem like it was a plan all along, no matter what they say. It read like it was going to be somebody else. And I get that they were trying to misdirect, but we've already seen that they're not usually that clever with any kind of misdirection.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it just seemed tacked on at the end. But I do think that people will pick it up just to see what the heck is going to happen with this.
Yeah. So with a sales volume of 164 copies, this was a 1 per store. And if it's a 1 per store, those stores sold those books fast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of the 164, by the way. In case you guys didn't know, I had a copy and I got rid of it.
Yeah.
Because I knew I had to. I ended up buying my collection that I bought that week. So my pull for that week, this book paid for it. Mm-hmm.
I said when we talked about this first, I thought Luke Cage would be a really cool idea because how does the symbiote like merge? Like, how does it work with his skin? Like, there's so many cool combinations that way, but Luke Cage kind of stands on his own. It would have been neat for like one issue, like a what if issue or something like that. But for ongoing, I just think Luke Cage, he can stand on his own.
All right, let's get rid of this one and let's go with number 1. Number 1, you probably aren't surprised by number 1. It is Amazing Spider-Man 546. Came out in 2008 from Marvel Comics. Last recorded sale was $25 at a no grade. Fair market value of this book is $16 at a fine. $136 at 9.8. Is number 1 in key collector, number 2 in CBSI, number 1 in cover price. Sales volume, this one is 71 sales within the last 30 days. Hype level is high, largely because of a damn title. This is number 1 because of a tagline. I'm
going to try really hard not to lose my freaking mind right now about this shenanigans, and just say that this completely illustrates the disconnect between the people making movies and the people, the fans, comic book readers. Mm-hmm. Is there anybody that liked Brand New Day? Anyone? No, no one. No one liked it. So there's no one in a boardroom that goes, excuse me, comic fans really don't like that title. Like, it goes back to this arc and they got rid of Mary Jane and this whole thing.
Shut up. Okay? Shut up. Shut up and get out of here. That's me doing my best Mickey Mouse impression.
Get my coffee.
Go over there.
You comic nerd. We're not paying you. You're
I don't care what you got to say. I want my money now. Um,
Oh, it's so annoying, Izzy. It just drives me around the bend.
okay, so first of all, this is coming off of One More Day storyline, right? Because One More Day just wrapped up, and it's the one book that I wanted to rip in front of Joe Quesada. This one didn't bother me so much, but of course, it was the what I remember the whole thing about this story that they wanted to promote, which was so stupid, was Spider-Man is dating again. That's what they wanted to promote, that he was dating again.
Yeah.
So what? You know what I mean? But with the with obviously with CinemaCon just over from last week, that's where they made the announcement. Sony made the announcement that the next Spider-Man movie is going to be called Spider-Man Brand New Day, which I understand why they made that title
Oh, yeah, I
to
totally
finish
get
up
it.
the Homecoming storyline, right? However, what they don't care. Like you said, they just don't care. They also went ahead and did something where it says, "Oh, it's called Brand New Day," and then you had a flock of people saying, "Oh, this is the book that we have to now sell because this is going to be the next story," which also features the first appearance, the true first appearance of Mr. Negative Man, who I'm sorry, is he supposed to be the main villain?
Uh, uh, uh,
He's not, he doesn't fall as the caliber of core Spider-Man villains. He's like CD level villain in my,
yeah.
but people are hunting for it. Mhm. I personally, I'm okay with this book. I love Steve McNiven's art. I think he's a tremendous artist. He's doing some great stuff with Daredevil right now. I don't know what this book is going to be like. Is this it's number 1 this week. Will it be in the list next week? Possibly, be probably a little holdover for next week.
Yeah,
All it is a title, guys.
you can see in the corporate office, like, hey, so Spider-Man, what are we going to do about this Spider-Man 4? Because people don't remember him, and hey, comic people, like, what do you got for us? Well, there was something called Brand New Day. Brand New Day, genius. Stamp it, send it. Idiots.
Yeah. There you have it, guys. Tell me what your thoughts on the ranking system. Which books do you have? Share your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned for next week's ranking. Yeah, Shane, I got nothing. I got
Did you
nothing on
say?
this one.
Did you say next week's ranting?
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more comic content. Check out these other videos for even more insight, and I'll see you at the next one. Excelsior.